Hello, Glee fans. This is Shamus Kelley, video producer for the Towerlight, and I'm joined by...
I'm Lauren Slavin. I'm the Towerlight editor-in-chief.
Yes, and we are here with your Opinionated Glee review of Season 3, Episode 11, Michael. And since you're our guest today, what did you think of the episode overall?
I liked the episode. I thought that it could have been a little weaker, more like the Britney Spears episode, so I was glad that it was as strong as it was.
Yeah, like the Glee tribute episodes have never been my favorite of the bunch, as it were. But this one at least moved the plot forward a little bit more. It wasn't like, let's stop all the breaks. Although I did feel like with this episode, they're like, okay, we need Michael Jackson songs. All right, we'll pick the songs, and then we'll write the episode to those songs.
To be honest, I'm not the biggest Michael Jackson fan. I liked the Britney Spears tribute because they went old school, and I reminisced about my middle school and elementary school days, dancing in my bedroom.
I hated that episode. So bad.
But I could still appreciate the songs, and...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that big of a Michael Jackson fan either, so it wasn't like, oh man, Michael Jackson. No, I really wasn't excited at all. But I'm just like, I'm excited for another episode of Glee. And so I loved how within 1 minute of the episode starting, they had a song already busting out right there. And they finally are giving Blaine something to do that doesn't have to involve being Kurt's boyfriend. That's something that a lot of people actually noted on the comments of on the last review, was that, because I always joke about how Tina gets nothing to do, and they're like, well, if you don't count anything Blaine has to do is doing with Kurt, he has like no character. So at least he kind of got to do something this week.
True, even though it related to the Warblers a little bit, but there was more tension. It wasn't so Blaine centered.
Centric?
Yes,
Centric.
Blaine-centric.
But what I also found, there was the opening scene with them doing the one song. I don't remember for the life of me what song it was. Then, oh my god, there was the scene in the coffee place they go to all the time.
They live
where,
there.
oh, what's the name of Sebastian is like a complete asshole now. Well, I mean, he was before. But he's like, Blaine leaked their set list because he's an idiot. I'm not really sure. That was kind of a little out of character. I guess he's like, we're friends still, even though you've clearly shown you're an asshole.
And that he's attracted to him. I guess it makes sense that Blaine would want to cling on to his little Warbler friends, but you never knew who Sebastian was. And if you're in a relationship with someone and the only other purpose that the villain has is to get you out of the relationship, I don't know why you would just hang on to the fact that you went to a school with him. And he's a bully. The whole Warbler school's about not being a bully. And he's a mean, gay bully.
I understand that the writers are trying to go for, well, not all gay people are perfect or whatever, and I understand like the reason. At least at first I was cool with Blaine being kind of attracted to him, because it's like Kurt's all like, I'm not putting out for you or whatever, however you want to put that. But now like they've had sex and they've clearly shown that they really like each other, so I'm not really sure why he's so attracted to like Sebastian, because he's kind of an asshole, and I really hope they don't try and make him continually attracted to him, especially when he got that shit thrown in his face.
Yes. So the garage scene. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it kind of brought back West Side Story.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. The main reason I liked Glee in the first season was, while it was a TV show, it felt like a musical. There would be points where, like, my favorite example is when Finn kisses Rachel and then says, I don't want to be with you, and is still with Quinn. And Rachel sings a song, and it morphs from her singing in the hallway and seeing Finn and Quinn together, and then her singing in her bedroom with a little hairbrush mic, and then her singing on stage. And it felt like a musical. And so did this number, until it stopped feeling like a musical.
And then they just... See, at first, I thought he was just going to slush you in the face. I'm like, oh, come man the fuck up. They do this all the time. And then they're like, oh, there was something in it. I'm like, oh, okay, you're not a loser. All right, cool.
What I was saying was that Glee overkills mashups. They had a mashup success and then just decided to beat the hell out of mashups. And this could have been an excellent mashup. It could have been sort of like an Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better mashup. But instead it was just Glee singing, and it was a sing-off. That's sort of silly in general.
It seemed kind of like, once again, like for a tribute episode, there wasn't like, there's supposed to be some kind of magic to it or whatever, I guess you could say. Is that, like, even with the Britney Spears episode, I hated that, but at least that felt like an event episode, like they were doing something. This, while they did move the plot forward and that's good, this also didn't feel like anything special. It's just like, here's another episode where they did like 1 or 2 songs more than they usually did.
And I don't even know if I don't know how TV shows work as well as you do, but maybe, did they plan to have this episode, or did the Michael Jackson songs from the mid-season finale just do so well that they said, let's bring some more back. Let's do some more Michael Jackson.
I could honestly see them being like, we need to do a tribute episode. Michael Jackson makes enough sense. I could see them planning that because they need to get all kinds of permission to use these songs and whatnot. So I could see them planning this in advance. And see, I thought when Blaine got, slushied in the face, I'm like, is this the point where Darren Criss isn't going to be in like an episode or two because he was off on Broadway being awesome?
Ah.
See, that's what I thought, and he's like, I'm going in for surgery for next week, no big. So I'm like, is he going to be gone for 2 episodes?
That would be clever.
Yeah,
that would be
because
clever.
I felt like that's what they were doing with that, and they just said, okay, we'll put a song to that, and then we can make that work. Then there was like the scene where they're all like really pissy in the Glee Club, and then like Artie's like, man, we want to get revenge. I'm like, okay, I'm not really sure where this came from. This has happened how often to you guys? I mean, yeah, there's rock salt, as we learned later now. And then like Artie sings his one number, which was
Artie went back to his boy band roots, spiked his hair, grabbed Mike Chang, and they did a music video.
I love how they decided that him and Mike Chang are like a thing when they sing now. And I love how they're like, oh shit, man, we want to get him out of the wheelchair. So like anytime he does that now, it has to be an imagination sequence.
But in the Britney Spears episode, when they wanted to do the more elaborate things, and Britney had the bow on her neck, or they did Me Against the Music, it was a drug-induced sequence, not bad drugs. Stay in school, Glee fans.
Yeah.
So I liked that better than other.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't really care for the song at all, and then it's once again like once it's an imagination sequence, it's like what's the point?
True enough.
And you won't see not all the Glee songs, basically like add to the plot, but even still, although I did love. By the way, I just need to note something that Rory, the Irish kid, has done nothing for the past 3. I think I saw him just chilling in the background.
There were a couple cuts to him being like Michael Jackson, but no,
he's
I feel
just
bad
chilling
for Rory.
there. Rory,
Yes,
like,
bad.
I don't feel bad for him. I don't care. I don't care at all. Like I never liked his character, and I felt he's completely pointless. I feel like he's just gonna shove off to Ireland, and we're never gonna hear about him again.
Unlike Shamus, I watched the Glee project. I had the end spoiled for me, but I'm really looking forward to the other characters coming in, and I think it's sad that they made such a big deal saying Damien might take over as Finn's character, and they give him 2 things to do in the 7.
He was supposed to take over Finn's character?
That was what they talked about.
What?
Yeah.
He's not a strong male lead. I mean,
even a lead, period.
Well, he's not. I mean, not all leads have to be like strong, like alpha male types or whatever. But they don't. If they're trying to get him to take over like the main position, it's a really crappy way to do it. And he's not. His character right now is I'm Irish, and I guess I like Christmas, and Sam, teach me how to love or whatever.
And I have a crush on Brittany, and I'm jealous of Santana.
Brittany didn't like talking this whole episode. And for someone who's apparently such a great dancer, and how Michael Jackson was, a great dancer, why didn't we see her doing more things in this episode? No. I don't understand that at all.
If you get to go on your sub-tangent, this is mine. My least favorite part of the episode can be surmised in 2 notes. Hee hee!
Didn't like that one?
So many. No, if they had done it once, it would have been funny, but they did it over and over, and it did not sound Michael Jackson-y. It sounded like when they do Michael Jackson in South Park.
Yeah.
And all he does is ride on a train and be like, children, hee hee! No, stop it. Stop doing that.
Yeah, I thought it was not...
Okay.
I thought, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with it, to be honest, but I can see how that would be annoying, and I'm looking back on it like, God, they did do that a whole bunch of times.
Uh-huh. And I don't know if Michael Jackson did it a lot. I guess he did.
Yeah. And
we can't ask him.
We can't ask him. That would suck. Well, we could. We just wouldn't get an answer. Anyway.
It's just got really, really deep Glee fans.
Morbid or something, yeah. I guess. So after the Artie's little musical number, what happened after that? It was...
I think Rachel and Quinn had a heart-to-heart.
Was that? I felt like that was... No, it was the whole, like, letter to Niata thing. Like, because Kurt got his.
Yes.
Because Kurt got his, and he's all like... They do this whole bit, and that was a cute scene with his dad.
Hummel.
Bert Hummel, such a good actor.
Such a good character. And so,
I mean, I understand, like, some people say he's underused, but it's like, this is kind of focused on the kids.
Sure.
I think, like, they had actually signed him as, like, a main character in season 2, and then, like, never used him for anything, because there's only so many plot lines you can do.
And even that Kurt referenced, he's like, Dad, your heart. Oh, remember when he had a heart attack? Oh, good.
Dad, your heart attack. I'm just hugging you a lot. Oh no.
Because it's not like he's going to a high pressure job in like the U.S. government or anything. That'd be a lot of pressure, and no one with heart issues could do that.
Whatever. But that was a cute scene. There was a lot of like scenes that like didn't really have to do with anything else in this episode. Like, oh, there was the one that we were talking about before we started this, the Sam and Mercedes bit.
Yes.
Which came out of nowhere and could have so easily been cut. He's like, yeah, man, your name's gonna be in lights one day. Boom!
This show upsets me because they talk about they have no budget, and then they do that, or in the episode where they did Nowadays from Chicago and shot at the screen and it said Holly and Rachel instead of Roxy and Velma.
Yeah, like, I think they do allocate more funds to like these tribute episodes because they're supposed to be like their big tentpole. We're gonna advertise the hell out of episodes, so they have to make them big.
Oh, you mean the Glee? No, I meant the school in general.
Oh, the school.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
No, that's fine. The Glee writers can do whatever they want.
In the Glee universe, that's just how it works.
The Gleeniverse.
The Gleeniverse. Can we also talk about, and we're, I don't know why I thought about this, but, and I feel like people have talked about this before, but like those people who like play the instruments in the background.
Yes!
Like the moment where like, later in the episode, Rachel's like, yeah, Finn, I'll marry you. Like, they're just sitting there, super awkward. Like, they don't even move. It's like, I feel like I want to see an episode about them with that and the piano guy.
Yes,
that would be the greatest episode of this whole show. Like, not even, like, they're just off to the side. They're just commenting on all the most ridiculous things that go on. That would, because then you have an episode that barely has any of your main characters, which means you give them time off or whatever, like they probably need. And you could do something that's creative and funny. It would be so amazing, and Glee won't do it because that would be smart.
They gave him a little bit of extra in the Smooth Criminal, which was my favorite song.
Yeah, for real.
I loved Smooth Criminal when they had them really intensely playing and the string broke.
They showed all like these close. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
So, and they do sometimes when Santana's like, "Hold on, shuttle guys."
Or my favorite, I think it was in the first season where they're like, I think Rachel's mom was like, who is that guy? He's like, oh, he's just the piano guy. He's just always here.
He's always here.
I think they gave him a name at some point.
Oh man.
I don't remember what it was. But the thing with the Sam and Mercedes thing, and I'm like, I think I talked about last week how I'm glad they're giving Sam kind of a character because he didn't really have one in the second season. But at the beginning of this season, they thought, all right, Cord Overstreet, however you say his name, is not coming back. Which I was like, okay, whatever. I never really liked his character. So they're like, oh, it was just like a summer fling, whatever, it's cool. But then when he came back, they decided, oh man, we already introduced this character, Mercedes' boyfriend. He's not interesting. No. We're gonna use this guy, and we're gonna make it seem like they had this whirlwind romance. When Mercedes at the beginning of this season was like, nope, that was nothing. She was not. I mean, obviously they had to retroactively act like that because they didn't think he was coming back, and I understand that happens sometimes. But he's being like a mega creep. He's like, yo, man, I know you have a boyfriend, but,
I'll leave you alone, but then I'm gonna kiss you ever so sweetly. Like,
he's not even being like, hey, I mean, I understand that they're high school and they don't act logically, but this is, like, super creepy, and Mercedes should be like, no, dude, for real.
Nah, she's enjoying the attention. She's enjoying the triangle with one character you never see, which is Shane.
Which is so sad because I liked his character in his first episode where he's like, yo, man, you're a star, And I'm like, and I would have liked to see, because he's a football player, and how, like, the football players treated him because he's, like, dating someone who's on the Glee Club, which we sort of see with, like, Finn and Rachel a little bit, but never a lot, but it would be really interesting for him for that, so, and it's, like, big black dude, and it's just, like, it's cool to see somebody different, and the Sam thing, I'm like, I don't really care about Sam, and I still feel like they made him a stripper to be like, screw you, Cord Overstreet, we know you have abs, we're just going to put him out there. This is your payment for coming back to our show.
I think that for most of the romances, Kurt and Blaine, you kind of saw it from the ground up, and there was Blaine saying, I'm not ready to be with you, and then they came together finally.
Yeah.
Even with the couples that were together from the get-go, you had Quinn and Finn, but you thought, okay, cheerleader, head football player, that's okay.
It makes sense.
Even Tina and Mike Chang, we got together over the summer, but then you see their relationship progress, and they had that fight because she went to his dad. Yeah. Mercedes and Sam haven't done anything. It makes no sense that they're so attracted to each other.
The problem is that the show writers are telling us and they're not showing us. They're saying, yeah, we sung that song from Grease, which obviously implies that we loved each other so much. I'm like, yeah, that worked in Grease because it's a movie and you can get away with that. This is a TV show. And Sam's being real creepy. Like, she's dating somebody already and he does not have a concern about I really want that guy to, like, punch him in the face.
Throw down. Glee cage match. It's
Something.
on like Diddy Kong.
It's Donkey Kong. Definitely Donkey Kong.
I preferred Diddy Kong.
Okay.
It was a smaller game. It had airplanes and hovercrafts.
That's right. Donkey Kong never got his own racing game. He never got to be in Diddy Kong Racing. Maybe in some version of it. But the other thing was, okay, the Sam Mercedes thing, pointless, whatever. Didn't really care about.
We disagree.
I do like your point about like Kurt and Blaine, how their relationship did really get built up. It actually went like very slow and more like a real relationship usually does, where the other ones have felt like kind of fakey and like, oh, TV. Although people would like to see more of Kurt and Blaine every week. I'm pretty sure Glee fans broke Tumblr last night, by the way, because right after the episode aired, like Tumblr was like, we're down for maintenance.
Oh no, not the Tumble Beasts.
No, Glee fans break Tumblr all the time. Yeah, but then we got the awesome Smooth Criminal bit, which was amazing.
Oh, so good. Everyone got to sing in this episode. I feel like you get a Glee album. I buy them on iTunes, and I listen to them religiously. And it's Rachel Finn. Oh, Kurt song, but it's never a really good song. Doesn't really show them off. Artie, Mike Chang, Rachel, Santana, Blaine, Kurt, Finn. Everyone got to sing.
Yeah, even the Sebastian guy.
Yeah, and everyone liked Uptown Girl, so that makes sense.
Well, not only that, it's what I also found and also, by the way, for the Tina watch of this week, Tina did nothing again. I'm so surprised at this point. But you know, the Smooth Criminal bit was really awesome, and I liked her outfit thing going on there. Can you wear that all the time? All the people on the Twitter were freaking out about that scene.
Yep. But the whole videotaping or recording of him was just really an excuse to say underboob multiple times.
Which was hilarious, by the way, but
my underboob.
I think that was trending on Twitter too. I'm pretty sure that was hashtag underboob. But it was like then they're like, yeah, we have this proof, like we can go to the police. It's like, no, we shouldn't do that. I'm like, he committed a crime. Like, this isn't like, oh, well, he did a thing that's like questionable. It's like, no, he threw rock salt in his face. Like,
even if it wasn't rock salt, even if it was just a slushie and a minuscule piece of ice got in his eye, for a school has a no violence, no bullying policy.
Yeah.
Total policy. It wouldn't make sense. You could do anything and there'd be no repercussion for it.
Well, that's also the thing that I found really interesting about it, was that like they get slushied all the time, and like they tried to play it off one week where they're like, well, it's not on the list of things that are like weapons at school. I'm like, stop it, okay? I think they did it once and they thought it was funny, so they kept doing the slushy thing, and then it became like a trademark of the show, but then they kept doing it. And I said, honestly, these kids went to freaking nationals. Like, I feel like they're trying to make them underdogs still, and they shouldn't be this underdog-ish, like, ever. And I feel like they're all worried about, oh, are we going to get into NIADA? I mean, they were part of a Glee club that went to nationals. Like, I'm not sure why they were so, like, oh, but now they're finalists. They don't get into the college. And I understand it's like a super elite college or whatever, but now it's like more drama.
And Rachel got suspended, so there was that minuscule bit. I like that they made Rachel wait for a little bit to answer Finn's question. Yeah. I thought that was realistic.
I thought that was
for
realistic.
A high school proposal.
The scene with her and Quinn was awesome, by the way. Because she's like, well, because Quinn had this awesome bit, and she got to sing too, which was great. But she had this whole thing where she's like, you think you love somebody, but I loved all these people. Which I'm like, that's realistic and true. And like, you think you love somebody like 1 minute, and then like the next day it's like done. So she's like, you need to live your life, and blah, 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 and...
So I was confused. She said, by the end of next fall, I'm going to forget everything. And then they did the whole sequence, and she says, without every one of you, I wouldn't be where I am today. And she looks at the picture of her baby and Puck, and you're like, you really can't leave any of this behind.
Yeah. You really... I think... I'm trying to guess why they... I feel like they're like, well, you made me who I am, but I don't need you anymore. I don't understand that, and I love how all the people that... There are those people online that really want Quinn and Rachel to get together. Which, I mean, don't mock them, because they'll come and tear your head off.
I'm sorry.
But
I mean, the slap was hot in the second season. That was.
Well, I mean, just because they were already screen capping the hell out of that. That was the last time I saw Tumblr before it broke.
How do they get the gifts so fast?
Some people just record off their TV with their little cameras and then put it online, and sometimes they have copies of the episodes up within like 30 minutes.
Wow.
Those Glee fans are, especially if it's a super gay episode or an episode like this, they'll get it really fast.
Wow.
But
Stop Online Piracy Act.
Yeah. Sopa. Why are we stopping soap?
What's wrong with the government sofa?
Why is Wikipedia down because of soap? No,
what
but
else?
The other thing about the episode that really just kind of boggled my mind a little bit was, so Rachel is all like, oh no, Miata, oh no, I'm not gonna have anything in life, which is like a very like drama teen girl thing to say, like, oh, I'm nothing without this. But then at the end of the episode, and then she's like, I'll say yes to you, Finn. And then she's like, they're like, but I got it anyway. It's like, so you don't really need him now. You don't really need this. And she made a point earlier in the episode. She's like, well, we don't necessarily, like, I'll always love you, but we don't need to say we're going to get married to say that we're in love. Like, she flipped back and forth between logical and being completely unlogical in this episode, which I thought was kind of, I guess that's in character for, I actually liked her in this episode, and I don't usually like Rachel at all. And that was kind of perplexing for me.
I like Rachel, but, and it is very high school. I guess they sometimes will make these characters more adult than they would be.
Well, that's like
because
the whole.
They're played by 30-year-olds.
Well, not only that, they're like the whole proposal last week. I was just like furious at because yeah, they've done stupid stuff like the fake pregnancy or whatever, but it just felt like more drama. It was just like one thing on top of another. But I guess they handled it pretty well. But it's how are they gonna continue handling it, as it were?
I thought Rachel's dads were gonna be in this episode.
No,
I kept waiting for that.
They've announced that, and it's not gonna. Hold on.
The dads never
We're gonna
came.
pause for a second. Yeah, like the whole drama thing. I'm just. It's a TV show. It's just that sometimes Glee likes to be really realistic, like the thing with like Santana's like grandmother or whatever, and it's like, oh, super realistic, and then they're like, marry me, which I understand some people do. I get that completely, but just another thing on top of everything else.
And they really do make a big deal that they don't have lives, but if Finn took over a car business, he could end up being really wealthy without going to college, which would be totally fine. And people actually do have long-distance relationships in high schools, and maybe they don't work, but...
You know what else I found funny? Is that she's like, well, yeah, you're coming to New York with me. He's like, yeah, I totally am. Remember last week when you were going to join the military? Remember that part? Like, I feel like they forgot about that this week, because he's just like, yeah, I'm going to go with you to New York anyway, which I still find really kind of silly.
Yeah, no.
He has no reason to go to New York except for her.
Right.
And Quinn was like, dude, you're going to be a star anyway, Rachel. You don't need him to be there for you.
How are they all going to be stars, by the way? I feel like one person from a school maybe does something famous, but they're like, no, Mercedes naming lights, Rachel naming lights.
It's a TV show.
Where's Tina?
Where is she? What is she
Quinn
doing?
gets into Yale.
Yeah, which
No.
I don't know how. I guess they sort of wrote a funny way for why she got into Yale, because of like that essay or whatever she wrote. But still, like they had never, like, remember in the beginning of the season, she's like, I'm not gonna get into college. I need this baby. I'm freaking crazy. And then after like 3 episodes, she's like, I'm completely normal again. I'm okay now.
Well, she was sort of secret crazy for a few episodes too.
That's true.
Subtle
That's
crazy.
true. Subtle crazy. Yeah, let's call it that. But what else was there?
Should we go to the ending?
Yeah, the ending. Well, there was the whole Rachel being like, yes, I'll marry you.
Yes, true.
Which I thought was lame, because then there was the commercial where they're all screaming, no! And the awkward people in the back, which was hilarious.
There's no way that can end well. And for as many times as they've broken Rachel and Finn up, if there's one more, I can't be a supporter anymore.
Yeah, because
I just can't do it.
I understand that some people like break up and get back together a lot, but when it gets to the point of somebody being like, marry me, and then you're like, no, and then you've already broken up so many times, and they've gotten together with other people, it needs to stop. Like, right now. It's ridiculous.
It's a bit much.
But there was, and I know the other part, and then there was the part where she's like, I got my acceptance letter, yay, and that was the end of the episode. But there was the bit where they were all singing on the stage. Like, they invited all the Warblers to their school, which was already kind of weird. And then they sang the one song, the black and white song. I don't know. Yeah. And like it's a fine song or whatever, but then like all the Warblers like get up on stage and start dancing with them.
Okay, which sort of makes sense when they're like, we're Glee clubs, we should work together. And especially if you have a member who traded off, and when Kurt went back to McKinley High, all the Warblers sang for him, so there was a connection there.
Yeah.
But why would they be so mean and then all of a sudden say, We were wrong. This is an after-school special.
I think
Don't throw rock salt.
I think the part that they were supposed to be going for was that they didn't know that Sebastian had thrown the rock salt. They just knew that he did the slushy thing.
Oh.
But even then, it's sort of like, dude, that's kind of a dick move. And some of them were kind of like after like you shouldn't be that way. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess we shouldn't. But they're like, there was before the smooth criminal number, the guy's like, dude, I think you're going a little too far. He's like, shut the hell up.
That's true. And then, but he's still the president, and he said, we're still doing Michael, and it wasn't like they ousted him and there was any real redemption there.
Then they're like, yeah, well, everybody knows what you did now. It's like, dude, I'm pretty sure they throw him out, or I hope that when they next see him, he's not like the leader of that, even though he probably will be. Sebastian's just like, I'm evil. There's no reason for why he's evil, by the way. He's just kind of evil. He's an evil gay.
They needed They needed a new bad guy, and where was Sue this whole episode?
I'm kind of okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like, where was Emma this whole episode?
Also a good point. Or East.
Yeah, remember how she got married? Yeah, they're gonna forget about that one. Oh, that was pointless.
Well, it felt like when Emma got married.
Yeah.
It was very
out of nowhere and
out of left field.
Well, the thing was, I'm okay with them not using Sue as much because the more they use her, it sort of desensitizes the ridiculousness. Like the preview for next week, she's gonna have like a baby or something. I'm
and
like,
Ricky Martin's there.
And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Oh my god, this show.
It's a lot of babies, and a lot of. They need to explore high school more because I feel like they're
doing
done
ridiculousness.
And it's everything that gets done in other shows. Oh, Secret Life of the American Teenager Pregnancy, and oh, I'm worried about getting into college, and oh, then
why not just do like high schooly things? Like, well, to be fair, I think they've set the bar kind of high. So if they try to go to, oh, I didn't turn in my math homework, like it's not gonna be that interesting, I guess. I mean. I would love to see them sing a song about needing to turn in their math homework.
Or getting detention, or they've had crushes on teachers, they've had bullying.
That was so creepy in the first season, by the way.
No.
And Will Schuester is still the worst teacher in the world because he's really too close with those children.
Yeah.
Like,
he has Finn to be his best man!
I think he was trying to make Finn feel better about life, but I still think that's really
lame. Look at your life. Look at your choices.
Oh my god, like this, I feel like, and I was watching the episode and I realized, like, if I wasn't, like, reviewing this show every week for this, and they didn't have all, like, the gay stuff in it, which I really like, would I still be watching this show? And that's probably a no, because this show is getting, like, it's getting more and more ridiculous, and I feel like less and less matters, and they're just putting stuff out there for the sake of putting it out there. They don't really have any kind of plan.
No.
Yeah, look, the first season was not the most amazing thing in the world. Everybody's like, oh, it was the greatest season of television. I'm like, yeah, the first season had problems, but at least you felt like because there was only so many characters, you got to know people, you got to see how they acted. Now it's just like, we're just throwing crap up against the wall, and we hope some of it sticks.
I mean, I liked the first season, but I actually thought the first season was 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because they took...
Everybody did.
They got Finn and Rachel together. Finn and Rachel broke up. Rachel got a new boyfriend. Finn was pregnant. Quinn was pregnant. Quinn had her baby. Finn could get pregnant at this point. That would be a good plot point.
Yeah.
Did they get new members? That wasn't until the second season.
That was the second season.
They got to regionals. It was they did everything they could do almost.
Yeah.
So now what are they gonna do? They got to nationals already. Second season. They got new members. They won more Emmys. It's just there's nothing.
Well, this is also the problem with the show that after this season, because last season, like, yeah, we went to nationals and we lost. So this season is going to be, we get to nationals and probably get something. Like, more than whatever 26th place or whatever they got. But the thing is that that's the problem, that no matter what they do, is what the next season is going to be the new cast, and what are they going to do? They're going to go to the next level? Like, this was the thing about, like, this is the problem with the show that has a goal, where they have to get somewhere. Like, this is why a show like, say, Saved by the Bell, you can keep doing, and they did a sequel show to Saved by the Bell that nobody remembers. Because they just did high school wacky plots. You can keep coming up with high school wacky plots for a whole new cast of characters. They did that. You can't do, we're going to nationals every single year, because then some years they won't go to nationals. Some years blah, blah, blah. Like, what are they going to do after this next season? Glee is going to start tanking next season unless they come up with something. Because otherwise just, okay, it's the same thing with characters we don't care about.
This is the shark.
Jumped!
Glee
Dude! So, alright, so I think the other part to talk about this episode is the songs, which, as we mentioned, they were nice, whatever. Lauren didn't like all the It's ridiculous.
It's too much.
It was a little ridiculous looking back on it.
But there were some good duets, and they got people to sing enough, and they did move the plot forward a little bit. And overall, it was a good episode. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was fun.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see Blaine for like a week or two.
Which makes me sad, but it's understandable. He's going on to bigger and better things, and he's not leaving altogether.
See, it's funny that he replaced Harry Potter in the musical that Harry Potter was starring in. You see why people think that's funny? Yeah.
You see what they.
So overall, this episode, I don't know. It's like a B-.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah, because like once again, it's not like this episode actively offended me in like any kind of remarkable way. I'm not like, oh my god, why? But I'm also like, I didn't really care. This is just another episode. Like there are episodes that I would go back and rewatch even from this season, like the sex
Asian F.
episode. Yeah, Asian F was awesome. But these last couple episodes they've been doing, I'm like, I don't really care. Like last week, they found love in a swimming pool. I'm not really sure.
Found love in a swimming pool. I think I'm still on a high from Glee being back.
Yeah.
And I missed it. And when you miss it, you think about all the good things about it, and then it comes back, and you realize that
it wasn't that great.
It wasn't that good, and it leaves you feeling sort of empty and used.
So you were on a high before it came back, and then you realized that it wasn't as good as you remembered.
Right.
That's the problem, is that like they go away for a while, and I thought that was where they came back and they took a week off, and then they came back again. I understand there was probably they're airing something on Fox, or they wanted to.
Wasn't it the State of the Union?
Oh yeah.
Was it?
I think it might have been actually.
And also the fact that the Twitter feed, it was like Glee status Florida primary, Glee status Florida primary.
So
Fox
great.
has its priorities down.
That was amazing. Once again, it's the whole Glee really needs to like. I liked the beginning of this season. After the first like 2 episodes, they had like a streak of like really good episodes that I think kind of ended with the West Side Story / sex episode, and then they just have been kind of floundering in place for a while. And people keep yelling at them to do more gay stuff, and I'm not sure if they're allowed to because maybe Fox is being a dick about it.
Maybe.
They might have been like, you get your sex episode, and then you don't get anything for a while. Which that's how networks can work, and that's really sucky, but that happens. So, overall, I hope Glee gets better, and I'm really not looking forward to whatever happens next season.
I think the next episode will probably be another fun one.
Yeah.
This one had the music was fun, but the undertones were serious. So maybe they'll do something silly, and it'll be like, oh, Ricky Martin's here, and there's some Spanish teacher funness, and the songs can be sort of wacky, but I don't know. If they keep this up, I'm gonna be sad.
Well, that's the problem, is that like they wonder, like Glee's ratings have been going down more or less. I mean, it still has good ratings, but it's not going to keep being amazing like this if they keep effing it up.
I watched New Girl after, and I don't like New Girl, and I liked New Girl better than the Glee episode.
Yeah,
it says a lot.
I did actually watch New Girl. I don't know why. I kind of gave up on it, but I'm like, I'm like enjoying this. There's like a lesbian, and she's doing things on here. God, I watched Raising Hope after that too, and I remembered how much I can't stand Raising Hope. But I really like Kate Micucci, who's on that show sometimes, so that's the only reason why I occasionally watch it. And I'm like, this is such a dumb show. But, I mean, Glee can be great. I think in fans' minds, Glee is better than it actually is.
Yeah.
People make Glee into something. Like, people who write, like, fanfic, and people who make all the Tumblr posts, and the live journals, and the DeviantArt. Like...
DeviantArt's still a website?
Yeah, don't make fun of DeviantArt.
I'm not. I didn't know it was still...
And people are writing on their live journals.
And there's Zangas, and their Friendster accounts.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. Maybe they have a MySpace. That's still Glee Space.
Oh, jeez.
I think that there is a very large fandom for this show. It's just that, oh my god, it's so much better. It's better in my mind than the show actually is. People have these inflated expectations of Glee that it's going to be something that it's not. And I've learned that with Glee, you have to kind of lower your expectations. You have to not expect it to be as great as it's been. Nothing's going to be as great as my favorite episode from the first season, the Josh Whedon episode with Neil Patrick Harris. And I know you love Neil Patrick Harris, but like Artie like singing Safety Dance, which is one of the coolest things in the world.
Yeah.
Like, where did that show go? Where did like the show from like 5 episodes ago with the sex episode go? That's the problem with Glee, is that sometimes it will show how amazing it can be and then be really dumb.
Well, I think those 2 episodes, if you would combine them, and West Side Story hadn't like So the scene when Blaine and Rachel get married, they
Yeah.
were just sitting in 2 chairs, and I thought that's sort of a low budget-esque high school production, and I can see that. I did theater in high school, and sometimes you don't have a lot of stuff. And then some of these dance scenes were huge and gorgeous, but it didn't have the same plot. If they could combine them and have some really cool, like, dancing, music video-esque, throwdown songs, and actually put some meaning behind it, I would watch Glee. I would tune in every episode. I wouldn't go find it on videobb.com.
Well, like, it's also the problem is with, like, in the West Side Story episode, is that, like, they integrated everything so well, where they sang, like, A Boy Like That, which was, like, really well cut with, like, all the things going on in the episode, and all the songs mattered, and they all had, like, a point, where in this it's just, like, Sam's singing to Mercedes because he wants to be with her again for some reason.
There was a different B word you were going to say.
Yes, there was. Or he just wants to have sex with her. You know? Okay. But overall, this episode, yeah, it's a B-. I really hope that, like, next week doesn't suck.
Yeah, me too.
Because if it has a string of sucking episodes, because trying to, like, I don't even bother to defend this show to people anymore. People are like, Glee sucks. I'm like, well, yeah, it does. But I enjoy it.
It's like watching the Twilight movies. You're never going to defend them. You're not going to say that they're worth anything. Kristen Stewart's going to be Snow White.
Really? Oh, that's right. Oh, that's going to be hilarious.
Oh, that's going to be bad.
It's going to be hilarious. I don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, that's all from us to you, Glee fans. So until next week, thank you for watching.
Comment, and this time I'll get to answer some too.
Yeah, you should, because people are probably going to comment on you and
Yay.
be like, who's this other person?
Who's that girl?
It's Lauren.